one of our moments of the biggest silver lining we've ever had was when we fell like so hard. We had moved to Seattle. We had just played a show where Quinn's bag got stolen, and someone traded Quinn the Snapchat. They said, "Do you want Grant's Snapchat?" From like Grant from Monster Cat said, "Do you want Grant's Snapchat?" We said yes. We talked to him. We moved to Seattle. He was like, "You should go meet my cousin Reaper, who lives in Kirkland, Seattle." So we went
guy,
and met
dude.
this guy who we believed to be Reaper from Monster Cat. Talked about things from us, talked to us about the insides of Monster Cat and how it works, and said, "You guys should move here to Kirkland and we'll stay connected." So we moved to Kirkland. We had been staying with a family friend in Seattle and moved to Kirkland. And then we had extra Madian tickets. We were gonna go see Madian. So we were like, "Hey, we have extra Madian tickets." We were really eager to make this a long-lasting like relationship. So we were like, "We have these extra Madian tickets. Do you want to go to Madian with us?" He was like, "Absolutely, totally." We go to Madian together. Quinn.
I got what do you call it?
What?
I got planted on.
Yeah.
I asked to hit this guy's vape, and it was a dab pen.
And he didn't say
and
anything.
he didn't say anything about it.
So at the show at Madian, as we were waiting before the first opener even came on, Quinn hits this guy's vape and then hits the floor.
Oh,
We were like, I was like, fuck. I didn't know what happened. Like Quinn was high out of his mind because he just hit a dab pen like a vape. And so we didn't know what happened. We got really scared. We even got Quinn to the ER to like check and make sure he hadn't been like spiked or something. And so I was on the bus ride home from the show because I stupidly decided to stay and watch the show after Quinn had just been possibly spiked. Our roommate went with us and took Quinn home. So I stayed and watched the show.
I was Madian, dude. You can't blame yourself.
On the bus ride home, Quinn was like, "What if this Reaper guy like isn't him at all?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like we've talked to him. He's told us a bunch of stuff. It seems like it." And then I was like, "Actually, no, it probably isn't Reaper." So we're sitting in the waiting room of the ER and we read Reaper's AMA he did on Reddit and nothing is lining up.
Yeah, he was like on AMA, he's like, "Yeah, I lift weights, super swole, eat a lot of big meals."
And this guy,
big guy, I'm like 6 foot. This guy's like this
super
small
like,
guy.
wait, so he was
skinny.
pretending. He was pretending
Yeah.
to be Reaper.
Yeah.
Why?
And then not only that, the Grant that we thought we were talking to early on
was him as well.
So we were never talking to Grant either. We were never talking to anybody from Monster Cat. We were talking to this
Grant's
kid
cousin, which we discovered because we went on some extensive research
to realize
like,
who he was. And he
Facebook
was in high school.
Yeah, he
so
was in high school.
This high school kid catfished us to living in this city outside Seattle. And now we
only after being spiked and being like high and just like questioning life at this point, because
Oh my god.
it was a super weird night.
Yeah.
Well, only after that did we realize that we'd been completely like baited into moving into this area. That
Right.
What was his end game? What was his end game?
We have
no idea.
We called, we got on the phone with him after we were really sure of everything. We called him by his real name, which he hadn't told to us, but we found looking on social media, called him by his real name. And we were like, "What the fuck?" And then he hung up and started blocking us on all social media as fast as he could. We caught him on Instagram really quick. We were like, "We're not mad. We just want like answers. We just want this to be cleared up." So he calls us back and he explains everything and still lies through his teeth about things he doesn't know that we have already figured out, and lies to us and admits a couple things to us. And we were like, whatever. So we stopped talking to him. Like a month later, our third roommate who we were living with basically stopped paying rent and we had to make the tough decision to kick them out. We had another friend who was going to fill the spot, but also ended up being like a shitty person to us. So we dumped them. So now here we were, Quinn and I, just the two of us, paying $1,000 each for rent alone, before groceries, before Wi-Fi or electricity, paying so much money in this city that we moved to for now no reason, because the person who we moved to be connected with turned out to be a huge fake. Our third roommate left. Like, we were on the floor. We had
our bank accounts was draining. We
Right.
were like, what are we even doing out here? It was a big mind fuck.
It was awful. It was a moment where we realized we were like ground floor when we thought we were sky high. Like, we had fallen really hard. And it was in this moment we were like, okay, like,
what did we pass on?
Yeah, what have we passed? Like, what do we still have? What connections do we have? And that was when we realized that that Recall Records liked Martian bass and wanted unreleased music, and we had
like, let's make some freaking drum and bass.
So that was the moment that we were like, we're gonna write Recall Records an EP, and we're gonna write like 3 tracks and pitch them to Recall Records and see if they like it. And
we wrote 3.
And we wrote 3. They accepted 2 of them. We wrote another track, released that, and then the owner of Recall Records said, "Hey, I would like to manage you," and then became our manager. And we joke that the COVID pandemic kind of saved our asses, because then we were living in King County, Washington, where the first confirmed case of COVID was. We were working food jobs, so we lost our jobs instantly. We had an angel of a landlord who was willing to let us cut our lease and move home because of the pandemic, and gave us our full security deposit back and didn't make us pay rent for the next month. Cut the lease like that.
Yeah. No, so really good landlord.
So we moved home and focused on building up a good relationship with Recall Records. So, but it was the moment where we had fallen completely.
We have nothing. Everything we came out here to do, we were not.
Everything we thought we had was gone. We didn't have a Monster Cat connection. We didn't have someone with a big name there. We didn't even have a third roommate to help us pay rent. And like, everything was down on the ground. We found the silver lining of, what do we still have? What can we still leverage? How can we still make this work? And we did. And that's ultimately it's never been a question once of should we give up? Is this still worth it? It's always been, how do we make this work? Like, where do we go from here to progress? And in a way, falling on our asses that hard is how we got to where we are today.
Right. It's all part of the learning process. It's just mind-boggling that there's people out there who would just deceive. Like, what really was the end game? Like, what? Like, I don't even understand. I don't even understand. But whatever it was, it probably wasn't good.
Right. Yeah. I have no idea. That we still don't know, and we decided that blocking this person and cutting off all communication was better than trying to find that answer.
Right.
So we have absolutely no idea. And